Welcome to the Ravit Show. We are here at Google Next, and look who I have with me,
Me
Michael.
again.
Michael, 2.5 years back, you debuted on the Ravit Show today.
Yeah.
We are back at Google Next, and I'm
Yes.
super excited to chat about the announcements that Commvault and Google Next have made today. And I'm also kind of curious to learn a little bit about what's your role at Commvault.
Oh man, come on. All right, where do you want to start? Tell me where you want to start.
Let's start with your role and then get into all the announcements.
Oh man, so my role's been constantly evolving. I think every time I'm on the show, I'm doing something a little different. So I'm still primarily in marketing.
I love it.
Managing portfolio, but at the same time, I'm starting to get into all this AI stuff, and of course, being here, it's a little fitting. So, that's what I've been involved with.
We're loving it. Tell us a little bit about the announcements that were made this morning as well. Great things that are coming together. Google Next, like Google and Commvault are coming together. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so two things really. I would call it almost like Commvault Cloud 2.0, almost like our re-release of what we're doing in GCP. And it's important because I think a lot of people, as they're migrating to GCP or they're using it as a secondary or even a primary, right? Lots of good AI companies here.
Yes.
We want to reintroduce ourselves to them.
Yeah.
So, understanding how all the different workloads, the ones that they're using for even their AI pipelines and things that we protect, we want to make sure they get it. So that's number one. Number two, Clumio on GCP.
Yes.
So, of course, we all know Google Cloud Storage, massive data repository, probably the back end of their AI apps, using Clumio to get scale of protection and recovery.
The guardrails.
Extending it, baby.
For sure.
Extending it.
I love it. These are fantastic announcements. Thanks for sharing it. Also, touching a little bit on the AI piece. We can't do that. We can't not do that, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of excitement around AI adoption, but also a lot of hesitation. What are you hearing from the customers? What are the biggest gaps between the ambition and the reality? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. So look, I think it comes really from three forms, right? They want to make sure they're protecting it. So of course they come to us, right? Who better to protect their AI workloads than us? Amongst all the other things that we have to protect. So obviously we're doing that. The secondary case is they want to use AI internally, but they want to do it safely. So how do they govern the data, not only protect it, but also govern the data that are going into the LLMs? How do they make sure it's free of PII? How do they even discover data, like even know what's going into these, vector databases and things of that nature? So, they come to us for that too. And then obviously, how could they better use backup or our data repository to feed into AI systems?
Yes.
And do it with the secured way that I just talked about. So we're facilitating all those three motions so that when they do come to us with these concerns about data quality or data cleanliness or even data sensitivity, we can solve those problems.
Yeah, this is something pretty important. And just sticking on the same topic itself, you introduced today Data Activate, AI Protect, AI Studio.
Yep.
At a high level, how do these pieces come together for organizations and actually operationalize AI safely? How does this all come together?
Yeah, it's almost like I knew you were going to ask me those three things, right? So at the end of the day, those three things that I just talked about, those three facets are really how we facilitate that. And then obviously customers are coming to us and they're like, I'm glad you're extending those capabilities to just data.
Yep.
How do I do it for agents? So those three pieces of the products that you just talked about, we're extending those workflows to Agentic, so that they can also make sure that their agents can be running on guardrails and producing, a very clean and consistent outcome, and do it safely.
Yeah, I love it. Michael, one more thing that stood out to me is the idea that is behind the data. Behind AI, there's data, and
Always.
Data foundation needs to be clean,
rock solid. And clean.
Rock solid.
Yep.
How should organization rethink their approach about data in the context of AI systems? How does that work?
Oh yeah. So, two things. You always start with the basics, right? Everyone needs basics. You gotta always go back to the basics. And then if AI is going to be powered by the data, then data is really the substrate that you got to govern. So understanding where your data is, tagging it appropriately, understanding the sensitivity. And I know we talked about PQC once before. I'm going to try not to do it too much right now.
Yeah.
But again, it's about right-sizing these things, whether we're talking about encryption or sensitive data.
Very true.
So it's really important that we use these tools to really understand whether it's going to be sensitive, whether it's going to go into these AI systems, or it's just going to be data that's sitting in a data repository for some other further use. Really important to do that. So, I always tell customers, back to the basics. Start using data discovery tools, really understand your data footprint, remove data that you don't need, and then use it appropriately.
Yeah, I think that is very important in terms of, the unused data, and then, just make sure that the data that you're using is clean, good for AI,
Yep.
and it's working.
Yeah, we call it rot data, right?
Wrong
Redundant,
data.
trivial, and outdated, right? Like, or obsolete. Like, you want to get rid of that data because if
Right.
you leave that around and it's sensitive, you're incurring risks that you actually don't need. So
Yeah.
super important to understand your data footprint. And I always recommend people start with those basics.
So, Michael, I had one more question around agentic AI.
Yep.
I'm kind of curious to know, this introduces a new layer of complexity where systems can make changes on their own.
Oh, yeah.
What are the new risks that you are seeing which weren't there before?
Yeah, so if you kind of look into the tea leaves, right, you can see that we're building capabilities and things to roll those types of actions back.
Right.
So, we know customers are obviously adopting these technologies. There's everyone around here kind of just talking about AI and AI workflows and agentic workflows. So the adoption's there. We're starting to see the benefits. And then obviously customers have those concerns. So how do we allow customers to really move fast? We
Right.
provide these capabilities as part of our platform. In addition to those things, being able to roll those malicious changes or these inadvertent changes back, obviously providing the explainability and observability layers to preserve logs and other aspects of these agentic workflows, so that if something is to go wrong, someone can actually explain it and then fix it. So there's that mentality of constant and continuous improvement throughout this. We're trying to facilitate that with the tools and the platform that we're delivering.
I love it. These are great insights. Also, if I'm a, say, data platform owner, leader, attending Google next year, what should I be aware of when it comes to resilience after seeing what you are launching here?
Oh,
and
man.
if I'm working in agentic space or the AI space?
Hopefully they're using our platform, right? Because no matter how they evolve their platform, whether it's going to be deeply embedded in GCP, whether they're using workloads adjacent to GCP like Google Workspace, maybe they repatriate some of it on-prem if it's super sensitive, we provide them with a platform that allows them to stretch all across those different silos. So, super important to have that complete coverage, single policy, single
Love
pane
it.
of glass.
Yeah.
We bring all that to the table, so hopefully they're using us.
I love it. One last question, I
Sure,
promise.
sure.
That is about in the next maybe 6 to 8 months. How are you going to see the space evolve? What should the enterprise leaders be ready for? What should the security leaders be aware of? If you want to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think Mythos and Anthropic are setting the tone for kind of these specialized LLMs,
Right.
right? We
Yes.
saw OpenAI kind of release a security-centric thing. So I think for us, we're going to have to reevaluate how people are moving forward with these very specific LLMs. They're going to seek these changes out. And I'm actually on a special team that I can't talk about right now.
Wow.
But I'm on a team that we're kind of working through these types of things.
Okay, very cool.
So that, as our customers start to evolve for this different way that they're going to be plugging away at these security changes to their environment and, exposing risk for maybe even legacy infrastructure and applications, we'll be right then and there with some solutions so that we can protect them so they can continue to move fast without having, to incur a lot of risk.
Love it. You've given us a teaser about something
Teaser.
that we definitely need to chat more about.
That sounds
maybe
good,
off
man.
air, maybe next
Absolutely.
time online. We'll keep the ball rolling. Michael,
I
as
love it.
always, we love to have you on the show. We
I
love
love
all the
being here.
insights that you share and what you've been doing for the security, for the data, AI community. It's superb. So keep up the energy and
appreciate it, brother.
have a fantastic Google Next ahead.
Thank you, you too. Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.